The Republican senators were asked to fill out a survey recently as to who was the most partisan Democratic senator and who was the most bipartisan Democratic senator. I came in third on both lists. I loved it, I'll tell you. Now, I don't know what they were thinking. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. They got it about right. I know exactly what I believe and what I care about. I know what my roots are. I know what my values are. I know what I care about trying to achieve. Whether or not we achieve it every day or don't stumble in the process or have to make some arrangements less than you'd like to in order to get something moved forward. But I also know I serve in a body with 99 of the people and 435, a White House, stakeholders, governors, mayors, selectmen, all sorts of people across the country that are also involved in the decision making. And so you have to be sitting down willing to work with people. Not necessarily people you agree with all the time, but you got to do that to get the job done. It's what I do. It's what I've done for 3 decades in the United States Senate, what I began to learn to do for 6 terms, 3 terms in the House of Representatives. It's what I grew up with, in a sense, is watching another individual who cared deeply about our country try to make things happen. It's my family history of public service and caring about these issues. So I'm not going to promise you perfection. I can't promise you I'm going to vote every way you'd like me to, time and time again. But you know what I stand for, you know what I believe in, and I will not deviate from those principles and values. And to be able to go back to the Senate next year and carry on these battles, where it's not a meritocracy I serve in, by the way. You got to outlive everybody else around the country. Or outsurvive them politically in order to get these positions. And of course, I'd give anything in the world to have Teddy Kennedy back and be sitting at his arm on these issues. I'd love to be sitting next to Joe Biden, my friend who I sat next to on the Foreign Relations Committee. And I'd love to be sitting next to Paul Sarbanes, on whose arm I sat next to on the Banking Committee. But Paul retired, Joe got elevated, and of course we lost Teddy. So all of a sudden I find myself in the position of having to decide to chair 3 major committees of the United States Senate. And I made the choice to stick with the financial stuff because we'd finished the healthcare piece of the Labor Committee. But I haven't forfeited, Bill, Jim, I haven't forfeited my seniority in those other positions. So I'd have the choice going back to decide where best to put our efforts in the coming years. But I'm in a position to make a difference on these questions, not only for here at home, but around the country, on these major battles, both foreign and domestic. It took 30 years to get to the point of being in a position to make that kind of a difference. So I know there are those of you here who are worried about whether or not I can win or not. I worry about it. Every election is always a question. Anybody who told you a year ago where we'd be today, or a year before that Barack Obama would be the nominee, I'd like to meet you, because you're clairvoyant here. Someone said to me today, 6 months is a lifetime. I said a year is an eternity in public life, in terms of what can happen. But you got to work at it. And candidly, I need validators. I can't do this all on my own. If you don't believe it, I can't make you believe it. You've got to decide whether or not you think this is a battle worth having. And if it were just about me, I wouldn't be audacious for me to ask for your support on that basis alone. I'm asking for it because I think there's a lot at stake in what happens the day after the election in November of this year or next year. And so that's the reason I'm out and about and do my best in these coming days on weekends when I can get back to make my case and go back down and fight the fight over the rest of this year to see to it we achieve the results that will begin tonight. An historic, the very first time that the Senate of the United States will ever consider whether or not we can have a universal health care system in America. It begins at 8 p.m. tonight, and I'm going to be there tonight. I'm going to be there tonight. So, again, I didn't thank Audrey enough. We tease all the time about how she gets us all together and so forth, but I'm grateful to her. Myrna, I thank you. Where'd Myrna go? Where's Myrna? Myrna, thank you as well. And Kevin, where's Kevin? Where'd you go, Kevin? Right here. Kevin, thank you. How about another round of applause? But Kevin does for our folks in uniform. So look, a lot to talk about, and obviously we'll meet more and more, but I need your help. I mean, this isn't about, don't put it in the terms of the personality. The question is whether or not you think this is a battle worth having, because it really isn't about me personally. It's about these other things. The idea you can knock off a guy like me, what does that message mean in terms of these other issues, and what comes after? So I'll do my part, I'll work my heart out, and try and make a difference. And it's hard these days, it's hard to get through. I don't have personally the financial resources. Obviously, you know that. Looking already, in fact, I think I ought to get. You'd almost think these TV stations would light votive candles to me. I got people. I'm a walking stimulus package. I mean, the more people spending money in the state are going after me, I ought to be rewarded in some way. The amount of resources that are being spent to knock me off in the process. But just keep in mind what it's really all about. And I hope you'll stay in touch and let me know your thoughts and views and how we can do this better. But I can't be in every place at all the time. And it's like a family in a way. You know, we've all been in places where friends or family have been attacked for one reason or another. And if we often left and wondered why we didn't stand up at a critical moment and fight back. Because when we're silent about our family and friends, the assumption is it must be true. If others who don't know as much hear that and no one stands up, the recognition is, well, maybe what they're saying about that fella or that person is probably accurate. And if that kind of goes on, of course, there's not enough speeches or enough times I can spend shaking hands and going places to make a difference. And so I need to know that, candidly, whether or not I'll have people willing to stand up and make the case. Because I don't have the hours in the day, I don't have the resources financially. I can't spend $1 million a week on TV, as apparently one of these people is doing already. Don't have anything like that. What I've got, a set of values and principles and a record I'm proud of to make a difference for my state and the country. And I need to have some people willing up to help me make that case. In the end, there's nothing better. Nothing better than people on a grassroots, local level willing to make the case for you with neighbors and friends and co-workers. There's no better messenger than people who know you and care about you and understand what you believe in. And I'm willing to take that over all the TV advertising you want to buy. But if I only get TV advertising and not much else underneath it all, I hear that it's awfully difficult to make that case. So today I'm here to tell you how much I appreciate the invitation to be, Audrey, once again with you, as we were last spring, and I'll be back as often as you'll extend the invitations to come out, to know that I'll do everything in my power in the days that I have in this Congress to fight hard on the issues we care about. It's why we spend as much time and effort to elect a Democratic president and a Democratic Congress. Dan Malloy is right. People do forget this. You know, the Republicans took over control of both houses of Congress in 1994. And except for one 12-month period over the last 12 years, they've run both chambers in 8 years of George Bush in the White House. Now again, you know, I'm not suggesting, nor do I want to engage in just the politics of retribution. But let us not forget, as we talk about these issues, how the hell we got into this mess. You know, a little rear view mirror, look, it's not a bad idea. So again, to all of you, it's great to come out here. I love being in Northwest Connecticut and to see friends and people I've known a long time. Tom, God, you and I go back forever. When I bicycled through here back in 1979, 30 years ago. I'm not sure these old knees would do it anymore. Coming up the hills of Litchfield, but fond memories of being out here. So I'll get back on that plane tonight. Tune into C-SPAN, and if I wink and give a little wave, I'm talking to Litchfield.